folks, I'm Jody White, and today I'm going out with Gutierrez. He's just off the Costa FLW Series win on Shasta Lake, and we're going to go out and get a master class on how to fish a shaky head for some deep spotted bass. Yeah, so Greg, we're out here, and I mean you can see the bank right in front of us. You can see a transition.
Right.
Is this basically just the stuff you were looking for in the tournament?
I was. You know, during the north wind day, obviously everything's coming down this way. During the south wind day, it was honestly it was too much for me to stand out here. I was rocking and rolling, so I started finding these primary points that were in off the back, and I'd look for these breaks like this. Watch it. We just went over there. You couldn't see that
right
fish.
There.
You couldn't see that fish, but you're right on the outside edge of it, and I was actually right, probably about 10 feet in. See now this one, these were the. And this, ooh,
man, frisky little spotted bass there.
Yep. This is perfect for what I was looking at, especially with the north wind day. It's got the transition, it's got the rough stuff that's coming in here, the heavier stuff. We just idled over there, and you could really see it on the Lowrance, you know, on the down scan. You'll see how chunky it is. Regular sonar, it's relatively smooth, and it doesn't show the contours of what the rocks or what this mud looks like underneath, this red clay. And they get right on that seam a lot, and they move up and down it. They use it as a transition point. You know, it's like they can ambush out of there. And a lot of times for me, if I'm trying to figure out if they're on rock or on mud, the red clay or whatever, I start going till I can catch one. And then as soon as I get that thing up, the first thing I do, I flip them over and I look at their belly. And you'll see them, if they're pinned to the bottom, you'll see that mud patch right here. Fishing during practice, and I noticed that a lot of them had the mud line from here down to their vent, so from their back fins down to their vent. So it looked to me like they were laying kind of, you know, tail down versus scooting along the bottom. And they just pin right on the bottom here. It's the most crazy thing. And you'll find that for me, that when they're really laid down on their chest and they're laying in the mud, I lose a lot of tails off my baits. It really do, and that's kind of why I started transitioning into this bait here. It just made such a difference. It just makes them eat the bait different.
All right. Now these kind of transitions here, you mentioned like the water was coming up every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this one you can see clear as day?
Right.
Were there ones that you fished that you couldn't see that you just knew were there?
Correct. And actually this one actually comes out and it bends this away. So it looks...
Which is why we're down over here fishing toward the boat and we're still in that.
Exactly. So we're really scrubbing it here, and you'll feel it, you know, you'll go along and all of a sudden it'll just, it's like your bait goes away. And I bet you if we move up over here and then bring it down so it drops into the gravel, that we'll probably have a little bit more success than just hanging on the edge. Just because... There you go. That was, I cast it a little bit further just to see. But it's funny. It's funny because these things are right through the forehead every single time. There's so many of these places around here that I've been to, and I started spending, especially when the lake rises like this, you know, Oroville, Shasta. These kind of lakes where the water comes up. We fluctuate here in the west a lot. We were down almost another 80 feet here, you know, 2 months ago. So you would have had to pack a lunch to get up the launch ramp from where we launched now and where we're parking. Yeah. It's that much difference. And water comes up, you just got to go out and take those mental snapshots. A lot of guys go out there and they take their cameras and they take pictures of it, but really with the Lowrances that I got, I go by memory. I go through and then I can see the contour line. Well, I can see the contour line really easy, the difference in the break and in what the, you know, the structure is easy.
Okay.
You can even see when, you know, here's where a bunch of fish are. See how tight they are to the bottom?
You can see that extra little blur right there.
And yeah, exactly. And I don't know, maybe it's the worm. But they're exactly the same.
I would say it's probably one of those situations where you know what you're doing.
Well, it's, now that's a good fish, see? That one would have been one of those fish that I really, really would have liked early. Now look at what I was telling you about the mud. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is what we're talking about. When they really pin to the bottom, you can't see them. And you'll see how that is. When I wipe that, it'll just go away. You can clean it right off. But that's them laying on the bottom. And guys don't think about how they position, and they throw faster moving baits that really move a lot versus a bait that stands up so they can address it the way it is.
Okay. Now when you're retrieving this, I'm noticing you're shaking your rod tip a lot, at least early on. Are you pretty much always giving it that little bit of action?
I'm moving it the whole time. I want it, even if it's sitting dead still and I got it tightened up on a rock, if I'm doing this, that's why I'm using the 1/4 ounce heads. And guys think they need to, you know, a shaky head, you need to have the lightest head possible. Me, I want it pinned to the bottom so I can manipulate what it's doing. So if I keep shaking this thing and it's pinned to the bottom, that head's just sitting on something and it's just moving the whole time.
Okay.
So I'm calling the fish to the bait. Plus it makes contact with the rocks, the bottom, and it makes more noise. Clicking, you know, it's crawdad.
Like crayfish or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm telling all my secrets. Telling on myself here.
That's the point of
that was the point.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, gotcha. No, it is one of those things where you really gotta give them what they want. They want food, and it's you know, they're lazy. They're just like us. They're cold down there. They don't want to get up and go moving. Oh, that's a two-minute penalty in the other thing. There we go.
Man, that guy chomped it.
You feel that?
Bite, it was a real mushy.
Picking up the tail. There you go.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
right through the forehead.
Right in the top of the head, just like that.
They eat it so firm. They eat it so firm. And what's funny here, when you guys were here the other day, I was throwing a jig looking for a bigger bite. All I wanted was a bigger bite. And they were coming up and they were picking up the tail, or they'd come up and they'd eat the bait and they'd let it go as fast. They just don't. And I mean, I don't know how many hook sets I had.
Now that I've lost my worm, why don't you go ahead and sort of show everyone what the deal is with your head, your worm, and your whole combo.
What makes this so different is regular shaky head, you're gonna put it on, rig it back through, and it's a Texas rig worm, and it's going to scrub the bottom something like this. So it's going to go along the bottom like this. This one here stays on the bottom like that, and it stays on the bottom like that.
Okay.
So your bait is not straight up and down, but it's leaned back like it should be. It's, you know, there's nothing sitting straight up and down. They're feeding along and they're moving along. So this stays like that, which is kind of cool. Another feature on this thing that makes it so unique is the barbing system. Put it on upside down. Slide it on. When you turn it on, you can't pull it off. I mean,
it's on there.
It's on there, yeah. You'll destroy the bait to pull it off if you just try and pull it off. If you want to get it off nice and easy, you just flip it off and it comes right. So anyhow, what I just do is stab it in there, run it through, and I just run it back out. And then just leave it in. You don't need to expose this thing.
Because you've already got that angle set up.
Right, everything's set up. And then when this goes through the water, it just goes through the water, something like that, and you just wiggle it along, and it just does its little tail moving thing. It just looks sexy in the water. A lot of thought process went into that.
It works, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does.
So another thing I've noticed on the tackle side, you've got big spinning reels on this.
I do.
A lot of guys, I feel like, you're finesse fishing, you're going to use like a 2500 size, 1000 size, you're going to use a small reel. You've got some big ones on there.
I do. What's the 3500 or 4000 is me. And here's my thought process. It got a bigger arbor. The spool's bigger.
Yep.
It has a tendency to have a smoother drag. Whereas I've done the small ones, and you always hear them zizz 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 zizz. I mean, even no matter what you do mechanically, a bigger loop comes off at a different gear ratio.
Yeah.
Speaking of gear ratio, it also brings it in at a faster rate too. So now you're trying to catch up with these fish, and you're just spinning your little wheel around. This thing here, I make you know, if I want to take up 1.5 foot of line, I just turn it around once and I'm there. You know, the other one you got to do two, three reel handles to catch up to bigger fish. It just doesn't make sense. And these fish will pick it up. You set them, especially you set them hard enough, you turn their head right out and they just start swimming. You know, now they're going, they're running away from danger, but they're running straight at you because they're aiming. You've set the hook right into them. You know, yeah. They're aiming right at you. So I have a tendency to use the bigger spools now, bigger reels. It tends to balance out the equipment for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I like them. You know, guys look at me and they, I haven't been asked that in an interview, but I mean, I have a lot of guys tell me, oh man, you use such a big reel. Yeah. For me, that's where it's at. I like the fact that it's faster gear ratio, it's smoother drags for me. Is he swimming with that? Yeah, he was swimming with it. Golly.
He liked it so much he wanted to take it for a trip.
He did. On that, what color is that head? Oh, it is. It's yellow. What's that no fish catching yellow? Uh-oh. A double.
Hey, now we're talking. So hopefully we can just get them both in.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Oh, you jinxed yourself.
I failed.
You jinxed yourself. Did I just shake this one off?
I would say bring him in.
Oh, mine.
That's a pretty good one.
Mine's definitely bigger than yours.
Oh, for sure. And it's in the boat.
That's the only way I could claim it. Yeah,
there you go.
That's a healthy little fish.
I like it, man.
I do too. Bada boom. He started swimming with that thing. Nice. Little restitution.
Yep. Went back and got him.
Right through the forehead. Man. Look at them. They're lighting up right on that edge.
They're all underneath us there.
Yep. That's right. They're right on that edge. Coming in off the water, spending the time with you on Shasta Lake, yeah, throwing the frenzy nail, and we caught a pile of fish today. Hopefully I shared enough information with you so you can go out there with some confidence and throw the bait yourself and catch yourself some fish. Have a great time out there on the water.